So today we're going to discuss secondary sources, how to find them, and how to use them. Welcome to our discussion on secondary sources legal research. In this video, we'll cover 5 key points to help you master using secondary sources effectively. Here's our roadmap for today's session. First, we'll define what a secondary source is and its role in legal research. Next, we'll explore when to use a secondary source and why they can be invaluable. Then we'll discuss how to evaluate the quality and relevance of a secondary source. After that, I'll guide you on the practical ways to use secondary sources in your research. Finally, we'll dive into the best strategies for finding secondary sources efficiently. By the end of this session, you'll have a solid understanding of how secondary sources can simplify and enrich your research process. Let's get started. To understand the role of secondary sources in legal research, it's important to distinguish them from primary and tertiary sources. Let's break this down. Primary sources establish the law. These include statutes, case law, and regulations. They may be binding authority, meaning courts are obligated to follow them under certain circumstances. You'll often need to cite primary sources from your jurisdiction directly on legal briefs since they are drafted by institutions with lawmaking authority. Secondary sources help you find or understand the law. Unlike primary sources, they are persuasive authority, meaning they can guide but not bind a court's decision. Secondary sources analyze primary sources and are rarely cited in legal briefs. Instead, they're used to clarify complex legal concepts or provide background context to a legal researcher. Tertiary sources serve a different purpose. They help you locate secondary sources. They are not considered authority and are never cited in legal briefs. Tertiary sources index or summarize. Primary and secondary materials simplify your research. There's also an important note about secondary sources. While most are accessible online, a handful remain in print only. Additionally, the range of secondary sources available is vast, catering to various needs and providing lawyers with critical tools to understand and research the law effectively. Now that we've defined what secondary sources are, let's talk about when you might use them in your legal research. Secondary sources can be incredibly versatile tools. Here are 5 common scenarios where they can save you time and effort. First, you can use secondary sources to find primary sources. They often provide citations or references to statute, regulations, or case law, making it easier to locate foundational materials you need. Second, they're invaluable when you're trying to understand a new area of law. Secondary sources break down complex legal topics into accessible explanations, helping get you up to speed quickly. Third, they're a great way to find terms of art, those specialized phrases and concepts unique to a particular area of law. Knowing these terms can enhance the precision and effectiveness of your research. Fourth, secondary sources can help you learn the consensus opinion from courts on a specific legal issue. By summarizing trends in case law, they give you a broad overview of how courts have approached a topic. Finally, secondary sources are a fantastic resource to save time. Instead of starting from scratch, you can leverage their analysis and references to streamline your research process. Understanding when and how to use secondary sources can make a significant difference in the efficiency and depth of your legal research. Now let's go over some types of secondary sources. Legal dictionaries are a helpful tool for legal research, especially when you encounter unfamiliar terms. These resources contain definitions of legal terms drawn from a variety of sources that are often the first place you should look to clarify what a term means. Legal dictionaries are designed for a practitioner audience, offering broad coverage of terms, though their depth is typically shallow. While many are available in print and law libraries, you can also access legal dictionaries online through platforms like Westlaw, Lexis, or Westlaw Campus. A notable free option is Wex, a pretty good resource provided by the Legal Information Institute. In addition to general definitions, legal dictionaries often include references to primary law and secondary sources for a deeper exploration of the term in question. For example, Words and Phrases on Westlaw, which is akin to a legal dictionary, provides definitions taken almost exclusively from court opinions with citations. This can be particularly helpful when you need a judicial interpretation of a term. Legal encyclopedias are another valuable tool for legal researchers. They usually provide a brief, general overview of the law. Sometimes they are focused on a particular state or broad area of law. Designed for a practitioner audience, legal encyclopedias are especially useful when you need a starting point for your research. These resources are available in print in law libraries, but you can also access them online through Westlaw, Lexis, or Westlaw Campus. If you're looking for a free option, NOLO offers a legal encyclopedia that, while not as comprehensive as paid sources, is a good place to begin. Legal encyclopedias are arranged alphabetically by subject, making them easy to navigate with a few keywords or search terms. Most include subject indexes to help you find relevant sections quickly. The structure is similar to general encyclopedias like Encyclopedia Britannica, with topical articles arranged alphabetically. When using a legal encyclopedia, start by consulting the index to locate your topic. In print versions, the index is usually found at the end of the set. Once you've identified the relevant section, you'll find two outlines at the beginning of each major topic: a broad, general outline and a very detailed outline. These outlines provide context and help you understand the scope of the discussion. Each entry begins with a note on the article's scope, clarifying what is covered and what is treated elsewhere. This ensures you don't miss more comprehensive discussions in other articles. Following the scope note is the main text, which includes citations to primary and secondary sources. For print versions, remember to check the pocket parts in each volume for updates. Two popular legal encyclopedias are American Jurisprudence, also called AmJur, and Corpus Juris Secundum, also called CJS. AmJur is selective, offering citations to the most important cases, which makes its articles shorter and easier to read. In contrast, CJS aims for comprehensiveness, often providing pages with more footnotes than text. This makes AmJur better for readability and federal statutory material, while CJS provides a more exhaustive case list. Although legal encyclopedias have their limit, such as a lack of in-depth case analysis or jurisdiction-specific authority in national sets, they are an excellent starting point for understanding the law across a wide range of topics. Legal treatises are a cornerstone resource for legal researchers, offering in-depth coverage of specific areas of law. Let's explore what makes treatises unique and valuable. A treatise focuses on a single area of law and is offered by experts in the field. These works range from broad, multi-volume sets to narrowly focused one-volume titles, providing insight tailored to your research needs. Why use a treatise? Practitioners rely on treatises for their detailed coverage and practical tips. Treatises typically include thorough explanations of legal principles, along with citations to relevant cases, statutes, regulations, and other secondary sources. Some treatises also feature appendices containing the full text of key primary materials. Treatises have strengths and weaknesses. Treatises excel in providing exhaustive analysis, discussing multiple jurisdictions, and offering significant case discussions. They can sometimes even be cited in court documents as persuasive authority. However, treatises may not always cover your jurisdiction, and not all are authoritative, comprehensive, current, or well organized. Always check when the treatise was last updated, as the research may be months or even years old. You'll find treatises in print at law libraries or through platforms like Westlaw Lexis or Westlaw Campus. When starting major research, it's a good idea to consult multiple treatises to get a comprehensive perspective on your topic. Documents of the law are an essential resource when you're trying to understand the core rules or black letter law in a particular area. Drafted by legal scholars and jurists and adopted by the American Law Institute, restatements are highly persuasive and are even cited by courts in some cases. Let's dive into how they're structured and why they're useful. Restatements break down legal rules into components and provide commentary on their interpretation. Each section begins with a clear black letter statement of the law. That is, rules that are well established and generally accepted. This is followed by a comment section, which often includes illustrations or hypothetical scenarios to demonstrate how the rule applies in practice. Many restatements often include a case citator section, summarizing cases where courts have cited that section. This can provide valuable insights into how the rules have been applied across jurisdictions. Why use restatements? They're particularly helpful for understanding a rule and its operation in context. Restatements are widely respected for their detailed analysis and are more persuasive than many other secondary sources. Courts occasionally adopt rules from restatements, as in the South Carolina Supreme Court case Henson v. International Paper Company, where the court adopted the restatement Second Tort's view of the attractive nuisance doctrine. Restatements discuss multiple jurisdictions and can be cited as persuasive authority. However, they may not cover every topic, are infrequently used by practitioners, and require some expertise to use effectively. Additionally, it's important to ensure the restatement you're using is current, as updates may lag. You can access restatements in print at law libraries or online through Westlaw Lexis or Westlaw Campus. By incorporating restatements into your research, you gain a deeper understanding of complex legal rules and their practical applications. It's ALI recently added a restatement for medical malpractice. American Law Reports, or ALR, is a specialized secondary source that offers narrow yet comprehensive coverage of specific legal issues. Let's explore what makes ALR unique and how it can be a valuable resource for your research. ALR combines elements of legal encyclopedias and case reporters, offering annotations or detailed articles that provide an in-depth analysis of narrow legal topics. These annotations include citations to primary sources, related ALR annotations, and secondary sources such as law review articles and treatises. If there's the annotation on your topic, you've hit a gold mine. ALR annotations not only summarize the current state of the law, but also highlight how courts across jurisdictions have addressed the issue. They are particularly useful for rapidly developing or controversial areas of law. Here are some examples of ALR topics. Liability to one struck by a golf ball. Liability of school authorities to employ physicians and nurses. nurses as independent contractor or servant, liability to one struck by a golf club. As you can see, ALR topics cover a wide range of unique and very specific issues. In print, ALR is organized into multiple series covering state and federal topics. Online, platforms like Westlaw and Lexis make it easier to search by keyword or topic. Each annotation includes a table of cases, laws, and rules, giving a snapshot of the law across jurisdictions. It's updated regularly every 2 weeks on Westlaw to ensure content stays relevant. ALR annotations offer detailed case summaries and jurisdictional comparisons, but not every topic has an on point annotation. Additionally, annotations may not provide significant authority for your jurisdiction. 50 state surveys are a specialized tool in legal research that compiles all the laws and regulations on a specific topic across different jurisdictions. They're particularly valuable when you need a comparative analysis of how various states handle a particular legal issue. These surveys provide a comprehensive overview of laws and regulations on a narrow topic. Their primary focus is depth rather than breadth, making them an excellent resource for understanding nuanced legal landscapes. 50 state surveys are often available through legal databases like Westlaw, Lexis, Hein Online, or Bloomberg Law. Additionally, some think tanks and nonprofits publish their own surveys on specific issues, which can be an excellent resource. These state surveys can save you considerable time by consolidating the relevant statutes, regulations, and case law from all states into one resource. This is especially useful for practitioners working on multi state matters or those drafting model legislation. 50 state surveys are thorough, providing detailed references to primary law and occasionally secondary sources. They are ideal for trends and variations across jurisdictions. Their narrow focus means they won't cover broader topics comprehensively. Additionally, the quality and currency of surveys can vary, so always verify the update schedule. Law reviews and journals are helpful for legal researchers, especially when exploring new or emerging areas of law. These scholarly publications are often the first to address novel issues and legal developments in detail. Law reviews, also known as law journals, are scholarly periodicals typically edited by law students with guidance from faculty members. They contain in-depth articles by professors, judges, lawyers, and sometimes law students. Articles often focus on narrow legal questions, providing critical analysis and commentary. These publications excel at exploring areas where the law is unclear, unsettled, or rapidly evolving. They also provide valuable citations to significant primary and secondary sources. However, it's important to determine whether the article describes existing legal change. Widely available through legal databases like Westlaw, Lexis, and Hein Online, as well as platforms like Google Scholar. Law reviews have strengths and weaknesses. Some of the strengths are they offer critical legal analysis and policy argument. They discuss emerging trends and provide comprehensive bibliographies. Some weaknesses are they rarely provide a general explanation or overview of the law. Articles are not updated and may rely on outdated research. Law reviews are typically edited by students, which means they usually are not peer reviewed. When I say that these are edited by students and not peer reviewed, I don't mean to diminish how hard the law review editors work. They work extremely hard to do everything they can to make sure articles are accurate. But the law review process is very different from the peer review process. And so law review articles, generally speaking, are somewhat less reliable than peer-reviewed articles. When using law reviews, prioritize articles by reputable authors, such as professors or practitioners, and check the publication date to ensure the information is relatively current. Assume that the research is at least a couple of months and up to a year out of date from the date of publication, because some law reviews select articles up to a year in advance. White papers are highly detailed documents designed to inform policymakers and the public about specific legal or policy issues. They play an important role in influencing decision making and shaping public opinion. These documents are typically produced by government agencies, nonprofits, think tanks, or industry groups. They aim to provide an in depth analysis of a particular issue, offering context, policy recommendations, and supporting evidence. White papers are invaluable when researching complex policy questions or seeking insights into the rationale behind legislative or regulatory initiatives. They often include extensive data, expert analysis, and references to both primary and secondary sources. White papers are primarily targeted at policymakers, but they can also be useful for legal researchers, academics, and practitioners who need a thorough understanding of a specific issue. White papers have strengths and weaknesses. Some of the strengths are they provide in depth, well researched analysis, include policy recommendations and detailed data, and often serve as a foundation for legislative or regulatory actions. Some weaknesses are that their narrow focus may limit their applicability to broader research questions. The quality and bias can vary widely depending on the authoring organization, and the quality and bias of white papers can vary depending on the authoring organization. White papers are widely accessible through organizational websites, legal databases, and public archives. When using them, always evaluate the credibility of the source and consider any potential bias. By incorporating white papers into your research, you can gain a deeper understanding of policy issues and identify trends that may impact your legal practice. Please check when the white paper was published. They are typically not updated, so you want to make sure that you are using a white paper that has come out recently. This comparative chart helps visualize the depth of treatment and breadth of coverage through various secondary sources in legal research. Let's break it down. Depth versus breadth. The y-axis represents the depth of treatment, how detailed and specific the information is. The x-axis shows the breadth of coverage, how many topics or jurisdictions the resource covers. Nutshells and study aids. These provide broad coverage with less depth, making them ideal for quick overviews or introductions to legal concepts. Legal encyclopedias and practice guides. These balance depth and breadth, offering more focused analysis while still covering a range of topics. Industry reports and white papers. Positioned higher on the depth axis, these resources provide detailed information on narrow topics, often tailored to specific audiences like policymakers or industry professionals. Hornbooks and treatises. Found near the top of the depth axis, they offer exhaustive coverage of a single subject, making them invaluable for in depth legal research. Medical journals and law reviews. These focus on narrow, specialized areas with significant depth, catering to academics and practitioners exploring cutting edge issues. Depending on your research needs, this chart can guide you to the most appropriate resource. For instance, if you're new to a topic, start with broader resources like nutshells or study aid. For detailed analysis, move towards form books, treatises, or law reviews. For multidisciplinary research, consider industry reports or medical journals. Understanding the relative strengths and weaknesses of these resources ensures that you choose the right tool for your specific research question. Evaluating secondary sources is a critical step in ensuring the quality and relevance of your research. Let's look at three key factors to consider. Scope or breadth of coverage. Does the resource cover the topic comprehensively, or is it focused too narrow for your needs? Think about whether the source provides an overview or dives into specialized details depending on your research question. You may need to consult both narrowly and broadly focused resources depending on your topic. Depth of treatment. Evaluate how thoroughly the source explores the topic. Is it sufficient for your purposes, or does it only scratch the surface? For in depth legal analysis, resources like treatises or law reviews may be more appropriate than general guides. The CRAP test. Use this method to assess the source's currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. We're going to watch this short, fun video by Emerson Brophy about the CRAP test. He's talking about the news, but the principles he's discussing also work for legal resources.
There's a lot of different sources to get news, so here's how to spot the crap from what you can use. Check the currency, when was it written? Are the search results old? Has there been a revision? Is it relevant? Does it directly answer your question? Does it go into depth or barely even a mention? Do any other sites support the fact in focus? If no one backs it up, then it might be bogus. Careful authority, is it from a qualified author? And think why the sponsors pay to rate this voice up. Is it a .com, .org, or a .gov? Check the accuracy. Is it right? Is it properly written? The person or me and I are reliable sources quoted. Is it impartial or filled with emotion? Check the post. What's the article's aim? Is it trying to teach, sell, or entertain? So don't just trust whatever matches with you. Grab, start all your news.
Now let's apply the test to legal information. Currency. Is the information up to date? Legal research often requires the most recent cases, statutes, or regulations. For example, when was the law review article written? If it's more than a couple of years old, it's probably not useful for you. Check the publication or last update date carefully. Relevance. Does the source address your legal question or jurisdiction? A treatise on international law may not be relevant if your focus is U.S. federal law. Authority. Is the author or publisher a credible figure in the legal field? Look for judges, experienced attorneys, or well-known academics. Accuracy. Are the legal claims well supported by primary sources like cases, statutes, or regulation? Verify the citations provided. Of course, you'll still want to check if any primary sources you use are still good law. Purpose. Is the resource intended to educate, advocate, or persuade? Be cautious with materials that aim to push a specific agenda, as they may not present a balanced view. By using these tailored criteria, you can assess whether a secondary source is both reliable and suitable for your specific legal research needs. Now that we've evaluated secondary sources, let's talk about how to use them effectively. Here are 4 practical steps. Use the index or table of contents. These tools, which were originally created for print resources, are still useful in electronic resources. They help you pinpoint the most relevant sections quickly, often much faster and more easily than keyword searching. Indexes are organized alphabetically by topic, and that can help you learn which version of a topic name is used in that source. For example, some jurisdictions use custody agreement and others use parenting plan. The index can help you figure out which one it is. Browsing by the table of contents can help you figure out if there's another related section to what you're researching elsewhere in the book. Check the sections before and after your section. When you do a keyword search and you're linked to a secondary source other than a law review or journal, you're often taken straight to a short, specific section. Often related topics are discussed in adjacent sections, and those topics might not only be relevant, but potentially a better fit for your search. Use the navigation arrows to look forward a couple of pages and back a couple of pages to make sure that you have all of the information you're looking for. For example, if you're researching physician patient privilege, the section before might give you more information on how privilege is defined in your jurisdiction, and the section after might tell you who is defined as a physician for privilege purposes in that state. You may find additional context or insights you might otherwise miss. Consider browsing by jurisdiction or practice area. Often it's faster to browse secondary sources by jurisdiction or practice area to find a relevant one, and then, if needed, do a keyword search in that secondary source. For example, if you're researching California law, starting with California jurisprudence, California's legal encyclopedia is going to be a lot faster than doing a search in all legal encyclopedias. Similarly, there are terms of art that have different meanings in different areas of law, and so you'll get better results if you first narrow your search. Review the title for relevance. After you've done a keyword search, take a glance at the title before reading further. If you're doing a search for a civil case, a criminal treatise is unlikely to be helpful. Similarly, a treatise about artificial intelligence law is unlikely to be helpful to you if you're searching for information about medical malpractice. This quick step can save you from wasting time on tangential information. Using these strategies will help you research more efficiently and reduce frustration. When it comes to finding secondary sources, having a strategy can save you significant time and effort. Here are 4 methods to help you locate the resources you need. Use a library guide. Many libraries provide curated guides tailored to specific legal topics or areas of practice. These guides often include recommended secondary sources, links to databases, and tips for effective research. You can find these by searching for your subject area followed by the words library guide. For example, health law library guide. Use facet searching on Westlaw or Lexis or any database, really. Facet searching allows you to narrow your results by specific attributes like jurisdiction, resource type, for example, encyclopedia, law reviews, and journals, date or topic. For example, if you're researching medical malpractice law in California, you can focus your search to focus just on California and relevant resource types. This approach reduces false positives and makes it easier to find the most relevant materials. Typically, you can find facet searching on the left-hand side sidebar after running a search. Check a broader secondary source. If you're not sure where to start, begin with a general resource like a legal encyclopedia or practice guide. These broader sources can provide an overview of your topic and point you to more specialized materials. Ask a librarian. Don't hesitate to reach out to the Legal Research Center. Librarians are experts in navigating legal research tools and can provide personalized recommendations or guidance to help you find exactly what you need. By combining these approaches, you'll be well equipped to locate secondary sources that enhance the depth and quality of your legal research. I hope these tips help you better use secondary sources in your research. Please let me know if you have any questions.